Well, welcome to day 38 of our daily Bible reading. As always, we'll start with a word of prayer. Jesus, thank you for the gift of your word. Grow our hunger for it and teach us to look for you in every passage that we read today. Amen. And today we begin at Exodus chapter 26 through 27. The tabernacle. The tabernacle itself you shall make with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen and blue, purple, and crimson yarns. You shall make them with cherubim skillfully worked into them. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall be of the same size. 5 curtains shall be joined to one another, and the other 5 curtains shall be joined to one another. You shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outermost curtain in the first set, and likewise you shall make loops on the edge of the outermost curtain in the second set. You shall make 50 loops on the one curtain, and you shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite one another. You shall make 50 clasps of gold and join the curtains to one another with the clasps, so that the tabernacle may be one whole. You shall also make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. You shall make 11 curtains. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall be of the same size. You shall join 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves, and the 6th curtain you shall double over at the front of the tent. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the second set. You shall make 50 clasps of bronze, and put the clasps into the loops and join the tent together so that it may be one whole. The part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. The cubit on one side and the cubit on the other side of what remains in the length of the curtains of the tent shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle, on this side and that side to cover it. You shall make for the tent a covering of tanned ram skins and an outer covering of fine leather. The framework. You shall make up frames of acacia wood for the tabernacle. 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and a cubit and a half the width of each frame. There shall be 2 pegs in each frame to fit the frames together. You shall make these for all the frames of the tabernacle. You shall make the frames for the tabernacle, 20 frames for the south side. And you shall make 40 bases of silver under the 20 frames, 2 bases under the first frames for its 2 pegs, and 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 pegs, and for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side 20 frames, and their 40 bases of silver. 2 bases under the first frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the rear of the tabernacle, westward, you shall make 6 frames. You shall make 2 frames for corners of the tabernacle in the rear. They shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first ring. It shall be the same with both of them. They shall form the 2 corners. And so there shall be 8 frames, with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under the first frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames of one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the side of the tabernacle at the rear westward. The middle bar, halfway up the frames, shall pass through from end to end. You shall overlay the frames with gold, and shall make their rings of gold to hold the bars, and you shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan for it that you were shown on the mountain. The curtain. You shall make a curtain of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked into it. You shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, which have hooks of gold and rest on 4 bases of silver. You shall hang the curtain under the clasps and bring the ark of the covenant in there with the curtain, and the curtain shall separate for you the holy place from the most holy place. You shall put the cover on the ark of the covenant in the most holy place. You shall set the table outside the curtain and the lampstand on the south side of the tabernacle opposite the table, and you shall put the table on the north side. You shall make a screen for the entrance of the tent of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen, embroidered with needlework. You shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia, and overlay them with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold, and you shall cast 5 bases of bronze for them. Chapter 27. The altar of burnt offering. You shall make the altar of acacia wood, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. The altar shall be square, and it shall be 3 cubits high. You shall make horns for it on its 4 corners. Its horns shall be of one piece with it, and you shall overlay it with bronze. You shall make pots for its ashes, and shovels, and basins, and forks, and fire pans. You shall make all its utensils of bronze. You shall also make for it a grating, a network of bronze, and on the net you shall make 4 bronze rings at its 4 corners. You shall set it under the ledge of the altar, so that the net shall extend halfway down the altar. You shall make poles for the altar, poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with bronze. The poles shall be put through the rings, so that the poles shall be on the 2 sides of the altar when it is carried. You shall make it hollow with boards. They shall be made just as you were shown on the mountain. The court and its hangings. You shall make the court of the tabernacle. On the south side the court shall have hangings of fine twisted linen, 100 cubits long for that side. Its 20 pillars and their 20 bases shall be of bronze, but the hooks of the pillars and their bands shall be of silver. Likewise for its length on the north side there shall be hangings 100 cubits long, their pillars 20, and their bases 20, of bronze, but the hooks of the pillars and their bands shall be of silver. For the width of the court on the west side there shall be 50 cubits of hangings, with 10 pillars and 10 bases. The width of the court on the front to the east shall be 50 cubits. There shall be 15 cubits of hangings on one side, with 3 pillars and 3 bases. There shall be 15 cubits of hangings on the other side, with 3 pillars and 3 bases. For the gate of the court there shall be a screen 20 cubits long, of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen, embroidered with needlework. It shall have 4 pillars, and with them 4 bases. All the pillars around the court shall be branded with silver. Their hooks shall be of silver, and their bases of bronze. The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, the width 50, and the height 5 cubits, with hangings of fine twisted linen and bases of bronze. All the utensils of the tabernacle for every use, and all its peg and all the pegs of the court, shall be of bronze. The oil for the lamp. You shall further command the Israelites to bring you pure oil of beaten olives for the light, so that a lamp may be set up to burn continually. In the tent of meeting, outside the curtain that is before the covenant, Aaron and his sons shall tend it from evening to morning before the Lord. It shall be a perpetual ordinance to be observed throughout their generations by the Israelites. And now, Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 30, the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like this: 10 young women took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, all of them became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a shout, "Look, here is the bridegroom! Come out to meet him!" Then all those young women got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "No, there will not be enough for you and for us. You had better go to the dealers and buy some for yourselves." And while they went to buy it, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went with him into the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later the other women came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he replied, "Truly, I tell you, I do not know you. Keep awake, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." The parable of the talents. For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. At once the one who had received the 5 talents went off and traded with them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, "Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more talents." His master said to him, "Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master." And the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, "Master, you handed over to me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more talents." His master said to him, "Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master." Then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, "Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you did not scatter. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours." But his master replied, "You wicked and lazy slave, you knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with the 10 talents. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Psalm 31, prayer and praise for deliverance from enemies, to the leader, a psalm of David. In you, O Lord, I seek refuge. Do not let me ever be put to shame. In your righteousness deliver me. Incline your ear to me. Rescue me speedily. Be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. You are indeed my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Take me out of the net that is hidden for me, for you are my refuge. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. You hate those who pay regard to worthless idols, but I trust in the Lord. I will exult and rejoice in your steadfast love, because you have seen my affliction. You have taken notice of my adversities and have not delivered me into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a broad place. In Proverbs chapter 8, verses 1 through 11, the gifts of wisdom. Does not wisdom call and understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Beside the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries out, "To you, O people, I call," and my cry is to all who live. O simple ones, learn prudence, acquire intelligence, you who lack it. Hear, for I will speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right. For my mouth will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to one who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. This has been the Word of God and the Word of Life. Thanks be to God, and we'll see you tomorrow.